So the first time they meet, Comey presents him with the Steele dossier. And he goes, just wanted to let you know we have all of this information and all the stuff, the and all that being involved with Russia and all of this. And Trump's response to this, at least according to Bob Woodward, was he goes, take everything you need. You have access to all my campaign files, everything. If there's any connection to Russia here, I want to know about it as much as you do. So investigate me, which he did not have to do, which right away should have really suggested that there was nothing to this. But I don't know exactly what the details of that meeting were. But to me, what it read like was, like what J. Edgar Hoover, this was the longtime, head of the FBI, what he used to do was like, so JFK, wins the presidency. Bobby Kennedy, RFK Jr.'s father, is the attorney general. He comes into a meeting with J. Edgar Hoover, and J. Edgar Hoover goes, hey, listen, just want to keep you up to date on some intelligence. I have these pictures of all of the chicks who your brother's sleeping with. So here you go. Here's just the intelligence, just so you know. I have all of the information about all the affairs he's having. And don't worry, I have backups. So anyway, so I don't know who you guys are thinking to tap for FBI director, but I'm thinking I do another term. You know what I mean? It's like that kind of deal. It's like a soft blackmail. And it seems like there was something like that with Comey presenting all of it. Like, here, look what I have. And I think he kind of tried.
Was this before the Steele dossier had been released publicly?
Yes. And so I think he was kind of like, look, here's what I have. Here's, and like kind of tried to like alpha Donald Trump. Yeah. And I think trying to do that to Donald Trump, like Trump's knee-jerk reaction, he's like, you know what my catchphrase is, right? It's like, you're fired. Yeah. And like, I don't think he told that to him to his face there, but I think that was ultimately kind of like what got him to fire him. And then that, firing Comey, is what set off the whole thing. And, but like I said earlier, they had been already investigating him, knowing this was bullshit from the very beginning, since the campaign. And Andrew McCabe, who was the deputy FBI director at the time. So so after they fired the FBI director, he said this on a 60 Minutes interview. He said that basically they all sat around, all the top people at the Justice Department, and they considered invoking the 25th Amendment, which is, getting enough of the cabinet to declare that the president is unfit to serve and removing him. And that's what they wanted to do. And he said that they basically realized they couldn't get enough of the cabinet, like they couldn't get enough people to agree to that. And so they settled on Mueller. Wow. They settled on setting up a special investigator. And so that's how they got to the whole investigation.
But how much money did they spend on this?
Tens of millions. I don't remember exactly how much, but it was a bit. It was a nice chunk. But the crazy thing about it too is that so Mueller investigates for over 2 years through the midterm elections. And this is the time when all you heard on the news every single day was Trump-Russia collusion, Trump-Russia collusion. Let's bring on this next guest who says that Donald Trump may have been a Russian spy since 1986 and all of these different things. BuzzFeed publishes the Steele dossier. They're all citing it and they're all talking about it. And then, I don't know if you remember this, at the very end, it's like the last month, BuzzFeed had these two reporters who ran a story that said that they had been shown proof that Donald Trump instructed Cohen, his attorney, to lie before Congress. And this is a clear crime, and this is going to lead with indictments of Donald Trump. He's going to be walking away in handcuffs. The sitting president of the United States of America is about to be indicted. And Mueller's team put out a statement, and they said, this is not true. And we have not found that in our investigation. So they were willing, at that point, toward the very end, yes, this was the Mueller report found that Trump did not direct Michael Cohen to lie. But more importantly than that is that they came out before the report was out and said, hey, listen, everyone's speculating about this, kind of like control expectations because that's not going to happen. We didn't find any evidence of that. Yet they allowed for 2+ years every pundit in the world to speculate about whether the sitting president of the United States had committed high treason. And he never came out and said, hey, guys, that's not where our investigation is pointed at all. Like, cool it with that. He let everybody say that through the midterm elections and just through the first 2+ years of Trump's administration. Just let that hang over him, even though clearly he never had any evidence pointing in that direction at all, which is insane. It's like, it was like the biggest story in the history of the United States of America, if it was true, that the sitting president is actually a Russian agent.
Right.
Like, there's nothing bigger than that ever. But the actual story is almost as big, which is that the intelligence agencies framed the sitting president for treason. And they all got away with it.
And this is the world we're living in right now. This is the real red pill moment.
It's the rich men north of Richmond. They all want total control.
Yeah.
And but that's kind of, I think on some instinctual level, like that's why that song resonates so much with people. I remember you said once, I always thought this was like the best way to put it. And I believe you were talking about Occupy Wall Street. This was years ago when that was going on. And you compared them to white blood cells.
Yeah.
And you go, now white blood cells maybe don't exactly understand what virus this is exactly. They don't know the science of it. But they know like corruption, rush. It's just like this kind of thing on an instinctual level. And I think there was something to that, like with Occupy Wall Street. Like, yeah, sure. If you went down there and you talked to the average kid there and asked him like about economics or something, he might give you some ridiculous answer.
Right.
But they knew those big banks being bailed out was corrupt as shit, you know? And I think there's something about that. Like, people just know, they're like, this whole system is bullshit. Yeah. And they're right.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's going to remain bullshit. That's what's crazy.
Until the libertarians take over. Join the Libertarian Party, the Mises Caucus. We're gonna get us there.
But even if they got into power, what are they going to do about this vast intelligence community and the influence of special interests?
Well, look, it's almost like two separate things. Okay, so it's like what needs to be done, you know, versus how you get it done.
Right.
And that's the how you get it done part is much more challenging. But it's like I'd say like you know, like if you were bit by a venomous snake, and like whatever the like antidote or something is like at the top of a really steep hill, and you're like, okay, well the answer is we have to get that and inject it in you. But then the real problem becomes like, okay, but how the hell do we get up this hill? Right. So like the answer is that all these agencies need to be abolished. The answer is that like you need a drastic reduction in the size and scope of government. You need to like abolish all of these 3-letter organizations and just start over. Start over with the Bill of Rights and the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. That would be about as close to perfect